Welcome all for the video lectures on Introduction to Data Structure and Algorithm, and today we are seeing the second module, the second session of our second module, that is asymptotic notation. What is asymptotic notation? Usually we give an instruction to the computer, and with that instruction it processes and it produces the output. So our complexity of an algorithm, the complexity of the algorithm depends upon the size of the input what we give. To represent that complexity, we use this asymptotic notation. It is nothing but it is a study of function. So when we pass a parameter n, we pass a set of function as a parameter to the as an input to the system, and it processes that and it produces an output. So the running time of an algorithm depends upon the size of the input. When the size of the input increases, obviously our running time will also increase. To represent this scenario, we use the term asymptotic notation. And whenever we have longer running time, your complexity is higher. So it degrades your efficiency. So whenever you are able to have a higher efficiency, then you say that your complexity, you have less complexity. That is, we know when we go with complexity, there are two concerns. One is time complexity, other one is space complexity. So both of this complexity depends upon the size of the input. So when you have a long set of data as input, the processing time is also more. In turn, your memory is also more. So when you will be able to have a higher efficiency when you are working with a small set of inputs. Okay, usually we represent asymptotic notations in three cases, three scenarios. One is big O notation, the second is big omega notation, the last is big theta representation. We represent asymptotic notation in either of this form. So the input what we are giving and the process what is taking place and the output what we receive, the computational cost falls under any of these three categories. We'll see what is big O notation. So the big O notation will be representing your upper bound of a function. That is, we usually say that big O notation is the worst case. We have already discussed in the previous section what is worst case. Whenever the time consumption and the space consumption is more, then we say that as in worst case. So we have a scenario here. It is not able to produce the output in the assumed amount of time and space, assumed amount of space required. Under this condition, we represent as big O notation. Okay, it will be consuming more time and it will not be capable of producing the output within the time assumed, and it will not be able to occupy the memory space what has been allocated to that. So this case we say it as an upper bound. When the bond lies between the when the bond lies above the range specified in terms of time and in terms of memory. Usually we give the definition as f of n belongs to O of g of n, where these two functions will be a constant function, and here whenever your input increases, even your time consumption and your memory consumption will also increase with the increase in your input size. This scenario we represent as big O notation. And this is the graph representation of big O notation. See here we have a function f of n, and O g of n is the required output, desired output for the given set of function n. Okay, here we have a graph which is representing the f of n. F of n is the function that has to be derived in this given time, and it has to occupy the space as calculated. But what happens, see the graph, your graph falls above the f of n, that is the computation time is g of n, where it is lying above the function f of n. What it means here, it is not able to produce the output within the desired time and within the desired memory what has been allocated for it. This is what the asymptotic notation, the first case. The second case is the omega notation. Here we generally represent this as the lower bound for a function f of n. See here, when you say f of n is at the upper bound, the g of n, f of n is the actual function we are supposed to derive, but what is the function we have derived? G of n in the constant time. C is nothing but the constant time. We have derived the g of n, which is the f of n is your desired output and g of n is your obtained output. It is not able to produce the output in the desired time. That is why it is specified as upper bound. When it comes to omega notation, here it is lower bound, and you say this is best case, that it means that it is not going to consume more time. It is not going to consume more time, and it is not going to occupy the more memory. This function you say it as omega notation, and definition for that is f of n belongs to omega g of n. So that c will be a constant value, and even here it varies with the set of inputs. When your input size increases, your output depends upon the input what you give. See, this is the graphical representation for this case. Here, see, f of n is the actual function, desired output we are supposed to get, but where we derive our output, we are getting that in the constant time of g of n, which is lying behind the f of n. That is, it is able to compute its task before the expected time and the expected memory. That is why it is termed as lower bound, and it is considered to be a best case. And third category is theta notation, where it lies between your lower and upper bound. Okay, it is not a lower bound or it is not an upper bound, and it is varies. Again, it is f of n will be a constant factor, and it is varies with the size of input what you give, and the definition for that is f of n belongs to theta of g of n. Even here we have a constant factor c1, c2 up to c0. So this is the graphical representation. Here it lies, it may be between c of, it depends upon the input factor. It may be either at the lower bound or it may be at the higher bound, and this is considered to be the average case. Okay, and probably whenever we work with that, most of the scenario will be going with this average case. And we have few guidelines when we implement when we concern with an asymptotic notations. Okay, with this we will be able to compare the constant factors with the input size. With this asymptotic notation, we will be able to compare our constant factors with our input size. Okay, so at theta of g of n, it specifies that your function is it should go faster, and in the second case it remains at the same rate, and the third case it goes at the higher rate. This is what about the analysis of an algorithm. This is what an asymptotic notation. It purely depends upon the input. When your input size increases, even your computational time also increases. It depends upon the input set of input what we give, and the process takes place with the given set of input, and it produces the output. While doing this process, we represent this in three scenarios that we say it as asymptotic notation. Okay, this is all about asymptotic notation. Thank you all.